I'm Ed Donahue. Donald Trump is looking to regain his footing after a rocky debate. The AP Soccer Magani has the story.
This was my best debate.
University of Missouri political communications expert Ben Warner says it might have been, briefly.
Maybe the first 10 minutes.
But then Kamala Harris got under Trump's skin during the ABC News presidential debate.
People start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom.
That was the first time she really baited him.
And Trump fell for it.
People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics.
2.5 months after essentially ending President Biden's re-election bid during a debate, Trump ended his night on the defensive, giving agitated answers. Harris's campaign immediately pitched a second debate. Trump says,
We're looking at it, but when you win, you don't really necessarily have to do it a second time.
Sagar Magani, Washington.
Some 9/11 victims' relatives appeal to presidential candidates for accountability as the country marks an anniversary laced with election season politics. The U.S. and Britain pledged nearly $1.5 billion more in aid for Ukraine. In Kyiv, Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the aid is wide-ranging.
Make sure that Ukraine has what it needs now to deal with the ongoing Russian aggression, but also make sure that it has what it needs to have an enduring success, to be a strong, independent country.
Miami Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill says he could have handled some elements of his traffic stop Sunday before game time better.
Now, does that give them the right to literally beat the dog out of me? Absolutely not.
Hill wants one of the officers in Florida involved in the incident dismissed from the police force. The Labor Department says the post-pandemic spike in inflation eased further last month, reaching a 3-year low, clearing the way for the Fed to cut interest rates. The Dow finished up 124 points. This is AP News. Justin Timberlake plans to change his plea in a drunk driving case. Here's the AP's Margie Zaraletta.
Prosecutors are not giving details on how Justin Timberlake's plea will change when he appears in Sag Harbor Village Court in New York on Friday. However, a person with knowledge of the deal who is not authorized to speak publicly about the case tells the Associated Press Timberlake will plead guilty to a less serious offense. Timberlake's lawyer, Edward Burke, declined comment. Timberlake was arrested after police say he smelled of alcohol after running a stop sign in June. He had pleaded not guilty to a misdemeanor charge of drunken driving. A judge last month suspended Timberlake's driver's license. I'm Margie Zaraletta.
A venture capital firm closed down a grant contest for black women business owners as part of a settlement with a conservative group that had filed a lawsuit alleging the program was discriminatory. It was bolstered by the Supreme Court case that ended affirmative action in college admissions. I'm Ed Donahue, AP News.
Good morning, Marianas. So many things we gotta discuss. Happy day, Tirawami and greetings. To Rhoda, Guam, Saipan, and Tinian. For all your island news. From a beautiful place with Pacific views. It's always so much fun on Good morning, Marianas.
Good morning, Marianas. Good morning. It is Thursday. We are most of the way through the week. Can you believe it? That's right. It's a good thing. A little bit of storm does a little bit of helping as far as making the week get shorter quite a bit. We will take it. That doesn't mean it's all easy out there right now. Hey, good morning, everybody. It's 83 degrees out here in Saipan. Humidity is high, especially up at the airport where it's 85% humidity, and we are looking at more rain through the day. How much so? National Weather Service said the chance of precipitation is 100%. Oh my gosh. Well, that's the highest that we've had since we started this show. Showers and possibly thunderstorms, high near 85 today. Looking at a breezy south-southeast wind, 20 to 23 miles per hour. Gusts as high as 30 miles per hour and 100% chance of rain. So is it going to rain? Yes, it is going to rain today and it's going to rain tonight. In fact, tonight, the chance of precipitation is 100%. Tomorrow, the chance of rain is 100%. Tomorrow night, it drops all the way down to 70%. Saturday, chance of rain, 90%. Saturday night, chance of rain, 100%. Sunday, chance of rain, 100%. We have not seen that kind of a guarantee out here since we started doing this stuff. So if you like rain, you can go out there and celebrate. Does that mean Ed Probst is out there washing his truck? Every time, I swear to God, every time that guy washes his truck, it starts raining. It's affecting everybody. That is trickle-down economy. Anyway, hey, so there's multiple hazards out there in effect right now. We've already talked about them throughout the week. Flood watch for sure, because it is like 100% rain all the time. High surf advisory and a wind advisory. So you got to be careful out there. If you're going to go out there on the water, be really careful. If you're not a good swimmer, don't even mess around. Stay away from the water at all. And everybody else, especially on the east side. You don't want to go on the east side with the wind coming in from that side from the southeast. Again, 20 to 23 mile per hour winds and gusts as high as 30. That is not messing around, folks. I hope you enjoyed the little bit of local music that we had going on this morning. We got the traffic. We've got a great guest who's going to be coming in here today to tell us about the Green Gala. That's right, Roberto Guerrero is coming in. So this place needs a women's touch. Let's just call it what it is. We need it, and we're going to take somebody who's also an excellent environmental steward to come in and tell us about this great event that's coming in for some folks who do a really good job promoting environmental responsibility out here in the Marianas, and not just promoting it, but doing something about it. It's really great to have them out here. We are not going to be able to get to the debate today because I know that that's going to be like an all-day thing, but holy cow. Did you guys watch the debate yesterday? It was something. We'll start with that. It'll start with something. We're going to break it down, do the whole analysis and all that stuff. And no, we're not going to say that we know everything because we certainly don't, but we're going to talk about our reaction to it. But I do want to talk a little bit about something that we started on it started last year when these charges came up against this guy. These two people who were working at the court, the he said, she said case that's going on at the court. And today was today's the third day, I guess. Well, fourth day, if you really want to be official, that it's going to happen. But yesterday was the first day that we sat in there to hear from the alleged victim herself. And we're not going to tell you like her name or any of that stuff. I mean, it's all out there now. I mean, but it's hopefully nobody reported on it. But when you got someone who's claiming that this kind of stuff happened, it's tough. I'll tell you what, so much about this is all messed up. I'm just giving you a layman's thing, right? This is clearly not going to be a super legal analysis on the case or standings or any of the findings or any of that stuff because it's still going on. But what I can tell you is that it is all messed up. And I can give you an assumption of what probably it was. And a couple of conversations I've had with some other folks about it and what their takes are on it. But man, it is a tough case. One of the first things I noticed was the jury selection. So it's here in the scene of mine, we got 8-person jury. We got 2 men on the jury and 6 women. The 2 men, one guy who just appears to be in his 20s, the other one appears to be in his 60s at least, or he's had a really, really rough life and he's in his 50s. And then there's 6 women on there ranging between early 20s and possibly early 40s. And a pretty good mix between them. But I think they've already picked. We're just doing the book by the cover thing, right? It seems like a very sympathetic jury to the alleged victim in this one. For sure. That's totally the book by its cover. You never know what you're going to get with the jury, right? You never know. I know the attorneys, they spend a lot of time trying to pick out who these folks are, who's going to be the best person for their client, and go with that. The other thing is, on then you've got the 2 attorneys for both sides. I mean, they end up having like a little team with them too. But Franny Demapon leading the way for the Attorney General's office as the prosecutor, joined by Chester Hines And then that somebody called Mr. Kimberly yesterday, which was hilarious. And then on the other side, you've got Carrie Comstock, and I apologize to the other lady because I don't know who she is. I have her name, and I don't have it on me. Let's see if I can grab it really quick. 1 second. And no apologies, or all apologies to her for that. Where is she? Come on. I was hoping I could get this. Oh, Charlene Brown. Yeah, Charlene Brown. Sorry, Charlene. Although, got great video of her that she's like, no, can't use it. I'm like, that's not a problem. I don't need it. But we did shoot some video afterwards of the alleged perpetrator in this, William Abrazanaskis, right? Abrazanaskis. Abernaskus. That's it. Abernaskus. I had to say it a few times. I heard it a few times yesterday and it just didn't stick either. So here's the gist of the case, right? You've got a woman who is accusing one of her coworkers of rape. Short story, right? And there's a lot more to it when you're in there and listening to her testimony of what happened, the build up to it, how they how to know each other. In fact, the guy was only here for about a week when it happened. So how did this happen? Let's get this breakdown. Now, first of all, the victim in this is she's a grandmother, she's a widow, and so it's not like some 20-year-old young kid who got herself in a bad spot or something like that. So this is not like one of those somebody reactionary Me Too young kid that you might think that it's somebody who's just flying off, and no. And the guy's in his 30s, very early 30s at that, if he is, or late 20s, and it's interesting because just trying to be descriptive, you wouldn't think that this would be the match. Like if you saw them out together, you wouldn't think that between the two of these folks that this was like this new sparking romance that came out or something like that, right? And so what happened was this guy was going to move out here. He got selected to be a law clerk out here for one of the judges, for Judge Cavendo, and then in the course of the 2 or 3 months while this guy is preparing to move out here. Yeah, thank you for the reminder. All right, and as this guy's going to move out here, he starts talking to this lady a lot about getting more help trying to come out here, trying to find a place, trying to find a car, trying to find, where can I eat, all those kind of things. So over the course of 2 to 3 months of emailing back and forth and texting back and forth, they form a little bit of a relationship. That doesn't mean like they're dating or something like that, but meaning like they develop a closeness, at least in conversation. They're very, a lot of jocular humor back and forth for sure, trading some profanity sometimes, but all in jest, and that's admitted by the person who brought these charges against her coworker. She sends a bunch of emojis, which is not a problem either. But then you've got, sending the laughing emojis, kissing emoji, all that kind of stuff, right? And then, some of this like, hey, what are you doing after work? Oh, of him asking her, what are you doing after work? You want to go hang out and do this other stuff? Anyway, so all that stuff happens. The guy finally gets here. She helps him find a place. She helps him move. She gives him a TV, which he never paid for, but it seems to be that that's something in question about was he supposed to pay, was he not supposed to pay? Again, all this little stuff, right? And you could see all these little things. It seems like somebody who's just trying to be friendly from somebody who just moved here off island, right? And then maybe part of that is, wow, this guy's getting a little flirty, and she seems just objectively, like this is how I viewed it. I'm not saying this is what it was, but objectively, it looks like she's flirting back a little bit. Somebody's showing some interest in her. She's showing some interest back, and he tosses out like a little crumb, and she goes out for it. Then they kind of build off each other, and then finally, it's it's one of those things where, maybe something's going to happen out of this, right? So then it's the day before Easter. She has to go shopping. She goes to pick up her mail. She does so much for this guy that even his mail is going to her box because he doesn't have a mailbox yet. So she goes to pick up her mail, says, hey, you got some mail, and she could feel the envelope. It feels like there's like a credit card or an ATM card or something. It was probably an ATM card for an account that he just signed up for. You want to drop it by? Sure. So she drops by. He's like, hey, do you want to go swimming? And because he lives in a place that's got a pool. And she's like, what, my bra and panties? And he's like, well, better than my bra and panties. Ha, 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 whatever. So she goes over there, and they are going to go into the pool. Apparently, the owner of that apartment place, when you live there, you have to pay to use the pool. So the owner is giving him a hard time about all that kind of stuff, yelling at him, saying he's going to call the cops because this guy is apparently a few sheets to the wind. And so they leave, and she suggests, hey, well, we could always go to the beach. And they go to the beach, and they go swimming, not very long. They go swimming behind Payless. And apparently, she only went in waist-high water. He went out and swam a lap. Then they go back. She's driving, and she leaves the lights on in the truck. Not even thinking about it. They go inside. He opens the door first. He goes in, takes a shower, and apparently she's in a towel, and she was going to take a shower too. This is where the wheels fall off even more. Again, this is according to her testimony and then the cross examination from the defense attorney. So she goes ahead, and after he comes out, she said that she was startled by him, surprised that he came out of the shower wearing nothing while she was just wrapped in a towel, about to go in and take a shower. Keep in mind, now she had just, by the way, that was the other thing. She was out shopping. She had all these groceries that she got for this big Easter thing the following day. So frozen stuff, just thawing out in the car while she got there, as she pulled up at 4:30 to drop off the mail. Then it became the swimming thing. Then it turned into the squabble with the landlord. Then it turned to driving down from Garapan down to behind Payless to go swimming at the beach. Then they come back. They do the shower thing. And then that's where it happens. Now, apparently, allegedly, this is where he forces her into on the futon in the living room, and she resists, saying, no, you don't have to do this. All this. It was awful to hear it. I can tell you that it was awful to hear the testimony. So that's why I'm going back and forth on this so much. She said, in fact, between the time that all this happened, it was only within a 3-hour window, this whole thing about when she arrived, the swimming, the changing, the going to the beach, coming back, the attack, and then when she left and got home, all happened within about 3 hours and 17 minutes. And it was when she was describing what happened and watching her reaction, it was so difficult to watch and listen to. Because if what she's saying is indeed true, it is absolutely awful. You would not wish that on anybody. You would hate it for anybody. It was her emotional reaction was absolutely real, right? There's no faking that. We're not watching some Emmy here. She's not trying to get money out of this deal. This was a very real reaction, and it was difficult to watch somebody go through that kind of an emotional event and not give them a hug and not be there for them. It was so hard to watch from a seat from far away. Somebody go hug that woman, All right. Now let's move on. because there's more. So apparently, this guy who had been drunk this whole time, then passes out after he does his business. She goes into the guest room and locks herself in there. And this is what came from this part was from the cross-examination. I want to make sure I got the right part. Because she said to her specifically, she being the public defender, about you feared for your life. Oh, was this it? Yeah, that's it. Yep. She was afraid. She went in there. You feared for your life. Yes. You thought he would kill you. Yes. So as she's locked in this room, for what she said, she doesn't know how much time passed. She said, but it felt like forever. Now you're hearing about this. Then she leaves. Eventually musters up the courage and leaves. When she initially got to the guy's house, it was 4:28 p.m. because she messaged him on WhatsApp, I'm here in the parking lot. Just parking. I'll be up. Everything we talked about transpires. She leaves, gets home to the south side of the island, and sends a message. And holy frigging crap is the issue here. What she ended up texting. Hold on. I want to make sure I read. I remember what she wrote or what she said, but it was so. Because she apologized to him. Yeah, so she sent the text that, so sorry I forgot to turn off your headlights. I locked the door behind me when I couldn't wake you up. I tried, but I couldn't wake you up. I locked the door behind me, so I couldn't get your keys to turn it off. If it's dead in the morning, then I owe you a new battery. That's at 7:45. Now, all logic goes out the window for something like this. I mean, right? I mean, I'm guessing that's how you figure this in. Because and it doesn't end there. So the guy apparently is still passed out. He sees her message somewhere around 3:30 in the morning when he comes to, and messages her back, says, hey, if you could, do you have jumper cables or anything like that? And she's like, no, but I can get some. And this is not exact. It wasn't exactly that, but I didn't finish my notes on that part. But it was about, she didn't have them, but she said no problem, that she went to somebody's place in Culberville, picked up the jumper cables at that time, and went back to his apartment at 4 a.m. It's still dark outside from this place where she was allegedly violently assaulted and attacked, felt like she was going to be killed. But she went back with jumper cables to jump the battery in his truck at 4 a.m. when nobody's going to be awake and around and milling around. I don't know how you. And then, and that was one of the things that the defense attorney said. You've been violently assaulted, but you went back there to jump his truck? And then, she apologized, about it. And the guy who's the alleged attacker in this, even messaged her. He says, hey, stop apologizing. Stop apologizing. Blah, 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 blah. I can talk really well. Stop apologizing all the time. Spending time with you has been the best part of my weekend. all the text message exchanges, there's not a mention of any of this stuff at all. And then, so this allegedly happened on the 8th. On the 9th, I guess, I didn't look at the calendar just to make sure, but I guess the 9th would have been Easter. At least that's where the feast was. April 9, 2024. What day of the week was it? It was a Tuesday? All right, so maybe it was just a feast that they were having, right? So April 9th was a Tuesday, so, they were saying that 23. Sorry, let me go back. April 9th, 23 is when this happened. And that was what day of the week was it? Yeah, April 8th was Saturday. All right, so then they were preparing for this feast on April 9th, which was Easter Sunday. So this whole thing transpires on April 8th. The car gets jumped at 4 o'clock in the morning on April 9th. And then she continues on to go and prepare the feast and everything because she said that she didn't want to spoil the day for everybody. She wanted to see the family and the grandkids and her kids because they don't get together often. And that was it. And then on the 10th, she sent them a text, hey, what was the movie we were watching last night? Now, admittedly, they went back and cleared that up. They weren't watching it together at either one of their places. They were messaging each other, talking about watching a movie the night before. So this thing happens on the 8th. The car gets jumped at 4 o'clock in the morning on the 9th. They do the thing on the 9th with or she goes to the big feast and all that stuff. And they're talking. And that night they're talking also about watching a movie. He picks out a movie, gets it. And she watches it from her place because she's not going over there for whatever reason. I don't remember what she said. Like they were talking about getting together and going watching a movie somewhere else or something. And then on the 10th, she says, hey, what movie were we watching last night? Because she wanted to look it up again. Again, this is like a day and a half after this thing, and they're still going back and forth and talking. And now you think it's over. And it's not. There's still more to this story. It is so, man, it is. There's so much more to this thing. Because she said that it was actually, it didn't hit her. She kept waiting for him to bring it up and for him to talk about it. The defense attorney or the public defender was trying to, establish some groundwork there, saying, hey, you've been there for such a long time. It's hard to find a place that long. You want to be there, right? You'd almost want to do anything to keep a job like that, right? So then, anyway, the alleged victim starts sending him some messages like saying, hey, I don't think we should be friends anymore. Let's just be friends. So they're going to try to just be friends. Or not even be friends, sorry. Just be coworkers. So now they're going through just trying to be coworkers. And she says that ever since then, that she's starting to get more and more rude with the guy, being short with him and everything. But the messages are still friendly messages and everything in those texts and everything. But she was saying that progressively over the course of the next 2 to 3 weeks is when she really couldn't handle dealing with that guy. In fact, I'll tell you what, this lady had me on this roller coaster. Like, I can't believe, the emotions that she was talking about. It was so hard to hear from her. About how her life has changed since this thing too. Again, already this thing sounds so messed up, right? She said she doesn't even want to work there anymore. She said she doesn't want to live here anymore. This stuff doesn't sound fake to me either. Can it be true that both of these things are screwed up? Maybe it wasn't an assault. Maybe it was an assault. Maybe it was buyer's remorse. I don't know. And is this guy just some maniacal guy because of what happens next? What happens next after she says, hey, I don't think we should be friends anymore. I don't think we should talk. I think you should pay me for that TV that I gave you. And we should just be coworkers and that's it. And I need you to acknowledge all these points. And then she replied, I need you to acknowledge this. I need you to acknowledge this. I need you to acknowledge this, about each one of those points broken down. And at that point, I think the guy sees something's up and he fires off this email to Judge Govendo and the HR for the judiciary. And he does not use any scientific terms to describe the human anatomy. I will. But he said that after they came back from swimming, she walked in when he was in the shower and grabbed him in the grabbing place. Then he says she's been leering at me and all this other stuff. And I'll tell you what, that sounds like, I'll tell you, the stink of it to me sounds like the guy's just trying to cover his tracks for whatever was going on with that relationship. And apparently, I mean, I can't speak to it with any expertise or inside knowledge, but she mentioned that the guy's performance at the job was not great. And that maybe he was going to get himself out of a job because of his performance. But she was resolved to the fact that she was not going to tell anybody about this at all. She said she was going to take this to her grave. Is exactly what she said. And then he files an EEOC complaint against her, a sexual harassment EEOC against her. This is in May. The judge walks in and tells her, have you seen this? This email, which, by the way, if the guy's first course of action, if he sends HR and his supervisor, who at this would be the judge, a complaint about a coworker grabbing him in the shower and leering at him and all that stuff, I don't know how that judge's first step isn't to go to HR and then have a meeting with HR with her, but to go right to that person and saying, here is a complaint filed against you from one of our employees, right? It doesn't seem like it's going through the right proper channels at that point. That's just a side problem with this. Anyways, like, have you heard? And she said that she saw the judge's mouth moving. She couldn't even understand what he was saying, told him as much. She just left. And while she was driving away is when she called the judge and told him everything. When she ended up driving away, went by the airport, called him. She was going to go to his house and talk to him because at this point now, it's all building up. She needs to talk about it. And then after that is when she went to DPS. And that's when she told them what happened at DPS. And then she ended up filing an EEOC complaint against the guy for all of this. This thing is so difficult to process. You got an emotional woman, and then you got this guy who, I'll tell you, I don't know him. And sometimes I take a little bit of license with people who haven't been here very long because I figure you're not going to see him very long. But he kind of does look like a creeper. I mean, that's not fair, right? But we're not in the jury, and the jury's not supposed to be influenced by any of this stuff, so they can't watch it. But man, I can tell you, I mean, and his parents are there. And to be fair, I didn't ask if those are his parents. Those are his parents. Or they're like a very close aunt and uncle who are there. I can't imagine it's brother and sister. They're too much older than him. But they're there taking notes intently, and you could see the mom, tearing up and everything. And they, yesterday they made a motion to dismiss the trial, and they said no. You know, it's just so difficult to watch this stuff. I'm telling you, it's hard to be in there hearing this stuff from this lady, right? And it's not even. They kept talking. They still kept talking. In fact, after all this whole thing started, you know, she still went and saw him at the Hyatt while he was having drinks and dinner. And then she said the reason why she ended up sending that letter that he needs to acknowledge all that stuff in the first place is because she said that, and she gave him a ride home. She gave him a ride home from the Hyatt when they did this stuff. I mean, it's just, yeah, I see. I haven't seen all the comments, I can tell you that. But I can see some of them now. And like in the first place, why do you keep going and all that? You know, I think part of it, here, let's see, I'll scroll down for that. You know, why do you keep going back? But see, like it's the relationship. It wasn't like a real relationship. They weren't really dating. They were messaging each other. She would go out, like she invited him to join, and then he didn't go, and then he sent some of those playful messages like, "Ooh, are you going to be hooking up?" You know, things along those lines. And again, when you listen to the language they use back and forth, it is a playful, comfortable relationship building up to that. And afterwards, again, they're still talking. And they didn't even talk about that. Again, she said that she was waiting for him to bring it up. I don't know. I think that the jury seems like they made up their mind. Look, as much as I was listening to what the folks were saying, I was paying attention to what the jurors' reaction was going to be. When you would see that guttural, emotional response from the woman on the stand, you could see it on the faces. There's one lady who's got this thing done. She's already figured this out for sure. I think, again, that's a book by its cover. But, you know, we mentioned she's a widower. She's the grandmother. And this is not like a lady on a walker, you know. But I'm thinking that maybe, again, that buyer's remorse thing. You know, like, oh, man, I shouldn't have done it. Because when they described this violent encounter that happened, she went to the Easter thing. There were no marks or bruises or anything. She didn't go to the police. And that was one of the things that, I know that's not easy. And they were trying to paint that like, well, if, you know, you didn't even think to drive past, to go to the police station. I'm like, I could understand. I'm a reasonable person. I can understand that somebody who feels lost and confused in that kind of moment might not go in that direction. They might not even think about doing it. And she was saying that she didn't want to spoil the Easter for the next day. Yeah, I get it. I can totally understand that part. If that were the case, like if that really happened that way. But waiting and waiting and waiting, and then all the communications, you know, between that, like it's so difficult to balance both of them. You know, that's it. I mean, it's just hard to balance what seems to be logical and what isn't. And I can appreciate that all logic's got to go out the window when some of that stuff happens too. They kept talking and they talked about hanging out, and they did. I'm sure there's somebody who's going to say, well, you know, it shows some studies that women go back to their attackers and all that. Man. Or victims go back to their attackers. Okay, sure. It's not an easy thing to, can't be easy for the jury. And they can't talk to anybody about it. As a jury, they can't talk to anybody in their jury pool, like in their impaneled jury. They can't talk about the case to anybody. To process all that stuff has got to be a difficult task. So difficult. Until both sides rest, and then they get in there, then they can talk all about it. And they're only supposed to talk about the merits of the case as it applies to the laws that are charged, the crimes that are charged for the guy. So they can't say, can you believe that? I bet they do. I've never been on a jury. I mean, you guys have probably been on a jury someplace. I haven't. But I think that the prosecution definitely picked people who would be more sympathetic to them, for sure. I think that the best thing that the accused has going for him is that he's got 2 female attorneys, because even if they do seem to lean in a little bit on the alleged victim, yeah, it's still women saying that to women. And they haven't. I'm surprised they didn't. Like, because you would still look like a bully if you end up laying in on it. But, like, asking somebody that same question, if after all that stuff you still went back to go jump his car, why did you do that? And they did, but they asked it nicer. All right, it sounds like our guest just walked in. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break because there is no smooth segue for that one. So it is 7:58 in the morning. We're going to go ahead, tell you a little bit about some of our sponsors, and then we're going to play the update from the Associated Press, and then we're going to get in and talk to you about all kinds of cool stuff. Speaking of cool stuff, you are just about a mile away from one of the coolest places in Saipan. If you come here to NMI News headquarters, all you have to do is keep going south along Beach Road to the Aquarius Beach Tower. Right below it is the newest gym in Saipan with the newest equipment, the newest facility itself, with some of the greatest folks down there. The only thing they're missing is you. Go to Laddie Built 24-Hour Fitness and find out why people are going over there to get buff and stuff. And then ask yourself, hey, where's that mirror? Look in that mirror and say, hey, how come I'm not there? Well, check it out. Here's a little bit.
Persistence of build, be the inspiration, they witness approve. We do what we do by the rules in the book. We be a lottie where discipline and vision is built. We lead by example, persistence of build. Be the inspiration, they witness approve. We do what we do by the rules in the book.
To be up 3-0, I'll tell you that. It probably is not great to be down 3-0.
I'm Brad Rosala, and I'm the owner for Commonwealth Communications.
And I am Jojo Alipuzu. I am the owner of Island Image and Ocean.
And this is our joint venture, Sideline Studios. This whole concept that we have of doing all these live stream productions and covering news and doing live shows and everything, it wouldn't happen if we didn't have a great partner like IT&E, someone who can handle the bandwidth and provide it and then get us what we need when we need it, and then be a real partner for us for all the events, whether we're doing live sporting events, broadcasts. All of these things happen because of our partnership with IT&E.
With IT&E providing us with the fiber and point-to-point and even the MBRs, is just a great piece of equipment to use when we're broadcasting our sports, our events, our performances, especially our cultural performances. And it's just great to share our culture here in the Marianas with the world. And IT&E has been there from the get-go.
The thing I like best about working with IT&E is how willing they are to come out and find a solution. Even for Liberation Day, we thought we had a pretty good solution for our live stream setup, and it turns out that we did not have the right setup that we thought we needed. That day, just before the parade, reached out to Paul and said, here's our situation. What do you think? He's like, we're gonna figure this out. While he's sitting there barbecuing, getting ready for the parade to start, he starts burning up the phone lines, calling everybody in IT&E, what can we do, what's the right solution? They left their families to do this stuff and get us the equipment that we needed to broadcast live. That's over and above. That's on a holiday. That's when he was out there spending time with his family.
That's why IT&E is just the best, just really in touch with the people and the community.
I recommend IT&E to everybody. Tell them the options are there, and you could choose whoever you want and then figure out what you think is the best. But when you're ready, when you're tired of having your calls disconnected or not having service, then you reach out to the guys from IT&E.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. The anniversary of the 9/11 attacks brought President Biden, former President Trump, and Vice President Kamala Harris together at Ground Zero. Julie Walker was there.
Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump hot off their presidential debate Tuesday night, shaking hands Wednesday morning at the 9/11 memorial just ahead of the start of the annual ceremony honoring the almost 3,000 victims killed that day. Also there, President Biden, J.D. Vance, Mike Bloomberg. But the day is not about the politicians. It's about the people who died. That's why Diane Massaroli, who lost her husband Michael, says she attends.
I feel I have to be here because no remains were ever found of him. So to me, this is his resting place. So that's why I come.
As for the politicians, she says,
it doesn't really bother me. You know, I know some people it bothers.
At Ground Zero, I'm Julie Walker.
Sagar Magani has more on last night's debate.
In Philadelphia, Kamala Harris went on offense against Donald Trump.
Kamala Harris achieved her goal of getting under his skin.
University of Michigan presidential debate expert Aaron Hall says while Trump started out measured,
as the debate progressed, he just got a little bit less disciplined.
And didn't do as well as in the first debate.
Throughout the night, you could tell that he missed Joe Biden from the race and he preferred to run against him.
While Pennsylvania voter Alina Taylor says Harris scored an easy win.
She prosecuted Donald Trump tonight.
Alan Hill in Georgia says Harris did not bring the fire to Trump, and the ex-president didn't score well either.
Probably a C on both people.
Sagar Magani, Washington.
House Speaker Mike Johnson called off a vote today on a bill to keep the government funded for 6 months. It includes a requirement that people registering to vote must provide proof of citizenship, and Johnson signaled he's not backing off that. Hurricane Francis has strengthened into a Category 2 storm. It's expected to make landfall in Louisiana in the coming hours. This is AP News. Inflation eased further last month. The Labor Department reports consumer prices were up 2.5% in August from a year earlier, the fifth straight drop and a 3-year low. Excluding volatile food and energy costs, core prices were up 3.2%. And Seth Sutel has the AP Markets report.
Stocks roared back from an early wipeout and finished higher on Wall Street. Big tech companies, including Nvidia, led the way higher, even as most stocks in the S&P 500 index fell. The S&P 500 rose 1.1% Wednesday, bringing it closer to the latest all-time high it set in July. The Dow rose 124 points. It's about 0.3%. The Dow erased an earlier loss of 743 points. The Nasdaq Composite jumped 2.2%. Treasury yields rose in the bond market. A report on inflation led investors to dial back their hopes for a jumbo-sized rate cut next week from the Federal Reserve. Seth Sutel, New York.
And Campbell's Soup wants to drop soup from its official name. That's subject to shareholder approval. I'm Ben Thomas, AP News. Thanks for listening.
Good morning, Marianas, and welcome back to more ridiculousness of the chicken song. I don't know. I can't get enough of it. My wife absolutely hates it. Why do you play that? Nobody likes it. Yes, they do. Have you met Tobot? Have you met Vincent Raymond? They are fans of that chicken stuff. Good morning, Marianas, and welcome back. It's been a pretty interesting morning so far, and it's only going to get better as we're here longer because it gets so much better when we have somebody in studio. Because you can only listen to me so long, and I can only talk to myself so long before getting totally crazy. So it's good to have someone else that's in here instead of talking to all those other voices in my head, right? But it's great to have a great friend come in here and talk about something that's an awesome impact on our community. From the Mariana Islands Nature Alliance, we have Roberta Guerrero. Roberta, thank you for coming in here this morning.
Of course, thanks for the invitation. Always great to see you. Good morning, Marianas. It's a beautiful, windy, rainy morning, but I'm excited, and thank you so much for the invitation.
Yeah, well, it's great because you have I think it's your biggest fundraising event of the year.
It is basically the only fundraising event of the year.
No kidding.
It's called the Green Gala. This is the 11th year that we're doing it. We took a break during COVID shutdown, but it's been ongoing, and so we're super excited. I'm going to roll out some fun and celebrate the environment, and thank you, for coming along to be our host with the most for the evening.
Oh, that's fun stuff for me. I love doing it. And doing it for a good cause like this is going to be a lot of fun. So, I get to show off Kathy, bring her out, and we get to have a little bit of fun. And thankfully, our kids are old enough now to the point where we can leave them and they can take care of. Oh,
I know.
it's a sweet spot. It's a pretty sweet spot.
Well, I have 19 grandchildren, so I'm kind of like starting all over again, but it's still fun.
So that's got to be fun. That having grandchildren has to be a nice alternative to having kids again, where you get to have them until you can give them back.
Yes, absolutely. You take them to school, you take them to the doctor's appointments. I'll be happy on Friday nights when they spend the night with me and we just have fun.
That's great. All right, so I know we're going to talk about the Green Gala, but why don't you tell us a little bit about MENA? Give us some background about the Mariana Islands Nature Alliance.
Yes. Well, it was established in 2005 as a nonprofit environmental conservation organization. It was a group of individuals here from Saipan who were concerned about what they saw with what was happening to our natural resources and took it upon themselves to organize, get the federal funding requirements needed, all the applications for the nonprofit status. And so based on that, we've been moving forward, since 2005. Next year will be our 20th anniversary. So
no way.
Yes. Before you were born, probably.
Yeah, it was. It was just before I was born. But I do remember going to some of those first MENA events. I can't believe that's how fast it went by.
I know.
Like, I remember a tree planting thing, out by Wing Beach and everything. That's got to be when it started, right around that time.
Well, during that time, too, we had a lot of different programs that were started. We have the Schools for Environmental Conservation program, where we go into the schools and we present the students. Mostly at this point, our target audience are middle school students and their teachers, and we go in and we present different topics on environmental issues, and we bring in the experts, and they teach about climate change, about marine debris pollution prevention, about terrestrial stewardship, anti-littering and that kind of thing. So that's been a really successful program for us.
And you've grown quite a bit too. It went from just a bunch of volunteers to a really fully fledged, I remember it started kind of smallish, and then now you guys have a great office with a great team, and you've taken on more projects over the years.
Right. We still just have a permanent staff of 5, including myself. And a big shout out to them. We have, some of them have been with us. Becky Fury's been with us for 12, 15 years. Jolly-Ann Cruz, Dave Beneventi, Wayne Dowie. And they've all got a long history with MENA, and they're the ones that really push the program. So big shout out to them. And we have dedicated volunteer rangers. Right now we currently have, I believe, 23 that are on call to do specific projects. They are volunteers, but the funding does provide stipends for them for when they come out to do specific jobs, like tree planting and coral reef restoration projects and debris removal, projects of that nature.
Well, there was a really cool project that you guys started a couple of years ago, and it was going through the schools with all the recycling, with the plastic, and gave them a really cool opportunity, too, to work with recycling and technology.
Yes, and that is still ongoing. Community Recycles Plastics. We've got great partnerships. We have a very active school participant in Saipan International School. They're actually producing products and selling them at Marianas Creations, and the money that they earn goes into their school club projects and so forth and so on. We have a wonderful relationship with NMC, with NM Tech, and we also have one more machine that we're hoping to get up and running at the Department of Corrections. So that's super exciting.
Yes, because the commissioner was in here a couple of weeks ago and telling us all about it. And I'm like, that is just outstanding that you guys have even increased it to there. And again, you're incorporating technology with environmentalism, but getting it right to the kids. And then you're getting it to a place where people are, even while they're incarcerated right now, while they're trying to be rehabilitated, this is another thing for them to do.
Right, exactly. And aside from that, it's the ability to teach people that they can really make a difference. And a lot of it is about behavior change. When we do our outreach and education events, as an example, it really is about behavior change. And with this Community Recycles Plastics, we do have 20 different locations for collection sites, and people are using them. Like, as an example, the San Vicente Catholic Church, every week we pick up 5 bins full of plastics, and they're super cool about it. They know how to separate them, how to clean them before. They just don't dump it in a garbage bag.
That was my question. I was going to say, but how much other stuff gets thrown in there? Isn't that like one of the big problems?
It's part of the big education effort, and
That's great.
That depends too on the location. You know, we've got collection points at Oleai School, at Saipan Community School, at Mount Carmel, and the teachers there and the administrators there really go out and they give the community, like, these are proper ways to recycle your plastics. We'll take them, but we do request that mix trash, rinse out your bottles, separate the caps if you can, that kind of thing.
That's outstanding, really. Oh, Ann just asked the question. She said, do they accept plastic for recycling projects?
Yes, we do. Like I said, we have different collection points. And if those aren't accessible, we do have 1 or 2 bins right now available at our office at the Gualarai Center.
All right, if you got that, and where are the other bins that you have stuff? The Catholic Church at San Vicente.
San Vicente, Oleai School, Saipan Community School, I believe Hopwood. Gosh, I'm sorry. I don't have the whole list in my head.
No, that's okay.
How about, they can, anybody can call our office at 233-7333, and then we'll be able to give them, like, if they live in Cagman, we'll be able to tell them the closest spot.
So 233-7333.
Reef, right.
Yeah, there we go. So hold on, let me put this on here, just so everyone can see it. I'll just put it in the. Thank you. I'll put it in the comments right now. Okay. Pom pom pom. So that you guys can get it. So Mina is 670-233 Reef, right?
Yes.
7333. There you go. And now it's there. Then next question. Is it any kind of plastic or just certain kinds?
The number 1s, 2s, and 5s are the most adaptable to our machines. Some of them, like the water bottles, the number 1s, the caps are used to produce products. The bottle themselves, the number 1 plastics, are shredded.
Okay.
And that's being used. They can use it to make filament, and that's kind of still in the refining stage, but filament for 3D printers, as an example. We've also been in conversations with DPW, and there's a possibility that it could be used, if there's a sufficient amount, it could be used for asphalt additive.
Wow.
For road resurfacing. It can be used for concrete additive, not specifically for structural walls, but for, like, what do you call them, parking blocks, parking lot blocks, and those kind of things can be mixed with filaments, shredded plastics, as an additive to the concrete.
So I know the thing about the caps, because when this thing came out, and my kids go to SIS,
okay,
they were dumpster diving. They were going in garbage cans at the soccer field, like trying to get all the caps they could. The guys over at someone, Ann just said, "Can we make Zoris?"
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
That would be the best. But they were going for the caps in particular.
Yeah.
So, like, this bottle, I'm looking if there was an easy way to find out what number it is.
Yes.
I know that's your world. It's not mine.
No.
I just see a plastic bottle.
Right, and there's, if you turn it around, there'll be a triangle on the bottom, And it should have a number in it, like a 1.
I don't
for
see.
that.
This bottle doesn't look like it's got one.
Yeah, and it depends too on where the bottles come from.
Mhm.
But if you know about what, it's very
Crinkly,
flexible.
yeah.
Right. And so that would be a number 1.
Okay. So
But
like those,
definitely
like
the harder ones,
like the
twos,
vitamin water.
Right. That kind of thing. Like detergent bottles, shampoo bottles. Those kind of things. Those are number 2s or number 5s. The bottle caps from the 5-gallon water jugs. Those 2 are processable into products.
Wow, great.
So.
Well, now I know.
Yes. Now you know.
I absolutely love it. Now, do you guys have? There's the big transfer station in Lower Base.
Yes.
Do they collect anything for you?
We do have a collection site down there that because sometimes, our capacity right now is very limited due to lack of funding, but we have a relationship with the transfer station. They've designated one area that we have access to, and if we have an overflow that needs to be processed, we have a dedicated area at the transfer station where we take what we've collected and then we store it there until we have more volunteers in order to process. And processing means removing the caps, cutting up the bottles and things like that so that they can go into the machines.
That's great because they are a pretty central location and people are already bringing stuff there.
Yes.
It just seems like a nice, easy way to put you guys together. But the idea of where you keep all that stuff. So, like, again, when you police all that stuff up from the different bins, when you grab it from San Vicente, where does all that stuff?
That's the thing where, again, we're like constantly looking for funding. Our ideal situation would be that we could own our own warehouse and have a processing center there, but that at this point is not realistic. So we do have a good relationship with DPW at the transfer station. And like I said, when we do have a sufficient number, like, 5 or 6 volunteers to go there, and then they start the processing of the cutting up, and then it goes to the machines for shredding and processing into products.
I mean, do we ever get to a point where we have too much that we're not able to process at all?
Sometimes, which is great, but again, it's capacity. If we had more machines and more locations, or the capacity to, like I said, to have our own facility. Right now, our facility, we're renting an office space. We don't have a warehouse or a storage space.
It just struck me now, and of course, I'm not dealing with a lot of this, but if we end up having too much, or if that was an issue, there might be another way of funding some of it where that could be something that we do. We have, well, let me ask you this first, though. The marine debris that washes up, a lot of that plastic, are we able to use that?
No. We don't have the machine specifically that can process that type of plastic. I do know that UOG's program, the Center for Island Sustainability, is working on experimenting with a machine that does that.
Mm-hmm.
But this is also part of the solid waste management plan that you're probably very much aware of with the Office of Planning and Development.
Mm-hmm.
So they do have that plastics processing in their, I don't want to call it their bailiwick, and it's part of the plan. And it will take several years to secure the funding and to roll that out. But we really do look forward to continuing to be a partner with them in that effort.
Well, it strikes me as like you mentioned funding being one of the obstacles to it. And maybe one of the ways around it is if you end up finding a way, especially for the marine debris. I mean, we generate our own from importing everything anyway. Right. And then we get gifted all this plastic that gets from everywhere else. But what if it turns into like a combination where it's that rehabilitation project at the prisons, or at our correctional facility. It's an educational opportunity for the kids at the schools, and it turns out to be a way of us giving that back by creating these things that selling is one thing, but what if we just handed it to every tourist that came in at the airport, that they would end up taking back with them as a trinket from here, but it says plastic that was here that we are now exporting, and there might be some MVA funding for something like that.
And if we had a sufficient amount and a sufficient number of people and equipment to be able to produce in that mass quantity, that'd be awesome. Like, as an example, some of the molds that we do have And the bottom is inscribed, made in the Northern Mariana Islands of recycled plastic. I mean, it's there. It's very small, fine print, but it's there. And so that's the kind of thing. We are also making laddie pendants, which turn out to be keychains, and we're also making little gecko pendants.
Great.
Those are, it's not a secret, but kind of a secret that some of those items will be the giveaways at the Green Gala. For chicken.
I didn't know that, but that is outstanding.
Every year we try to give something, to the guests who come, and that this year we are producing enough of the little items: bowls, saucers, coasters, keychains.
It might be a means to an end, especially if we don't have enough plastic to do a whole bunch of stuff, but if we have enough to recycle. I mean, the least amount of tourists we get are from Japan, right? And what if we make this a Japan cent? I don't know, I'm just getting silly now. But if we just gave it to Japanese passengers, and it's one of our give backs to them, saying, we're so happy that you're coming here from Japan. We made these for you and gave these to you. They'll love it. They're recycled, all that other stuff. That'll spread a little bit of goodwill. And it's doing the same thing. And it's sustainable because we don't have enough tourists from there.
Well, and Japan is one of the, I swear Tokyo is one of the cleanest cities I've ever been in, and it's because they take they take responsibility, for their environment. And we here we're working on it. We're making progress, but there's been kind of like this. And I've lived here my whole adult life, right? And I feel like there's been kind of a shift. That's like, somebody else is going to pick it up after me. And that's kind of where we're focusing, too, on our outreach and education programs. Like, we're inviting people. Now, we're talking about tourism, right? We're inviting people to come to visit. You invite someone to your home, you're going to sweep your floor, before you invite anybody in to your home. And that's kind of the same attitude that we have at MENA is like, this is our home. We're inviting people. We live here.
Do you have a good buy-in from other folks who are big users of these things, like the tourists, like maybe the hotels?
Well, this is one example. Like Crown has their, Crown Plaza Resort has the products that they use for their guests in refillable shampoo bottles, lotions, and those kind of things. They're refillable, right?
Yep.
But they swap them out every 6 months for a new batch of new bottles. So that was how this came about with Department of Corrections, is that Crown reached out to us and said, we have 2,000 bottles. Can you take them and process them? And we're like, wow, okay. Let's try to figure something out. And in the meanwhile, the commissioner, we were kind of like chatting about what we can do in terms of a partnership. And so that's kind of how that developed. So as an example, yes, the hotels, the hospitality industry can definitely start participating more and more as we're able to build our capacity to do the program.
That's great. So the other hotels are interested in...
Well, we haven't, honestly, because of our small capacity, we haven't been able to really go out and sell the idea, just because we're limited in what we can do.
Yeah.
But the ideas are there, and hopefully when this solid waste management program really gets rolled out, that will be an added. There'll be added resources to be able to, to bring that whole community of like the Hand-Me people into the project.
In fact, the welcoming thing when you first show up is a good idea to give stuff to people, but maybe to make sure that they take it with you. It would be an airport as you're leaving. Thanks for coming to the Marianas.
Put your coins in this box.
Just think about they take that stuff with them. I mean, like exactly. that would be a really neat way of seeing that off. And I think MVA would be behind it for sure. And maybe they would be able to get behind, if it's a big effort like this, that could be a write-off warehouse space for some company that has it here. If they have, there's a lot of big companies here who have warehouses that might not be using some of them. That could be a tax write-off for them, a charitable write-off maybe. They just calculate the amount of space that is, and it goes to a good cause. You guys get a great press release out of it. They get a great press release out of it. Everybody feels great about it. Next thing you know, we are sending our plastic offshore. It costs us nothing, and our tourists think that we're great because we're giving them a thank you.
Good idea.
There we go. Vote for Roberta 2026. She is. So, what are some of the other? Well, let's talk about the gala. Okay. The gala. This is your big fundraiser. There's only one,
right?
And this is the only way that you raise money, which is wild. You get some grant funding.
Well, we do get grant funding from the federal government, and again, big shout outs to some of the people from Maryland and the East Coast have come over the summer, first time ever to visit us and boots on the ground to see what we really do. Not just us, but the different government agencies that they also do funding for. Department of Interior, Office of Insular Affairs. Also big shout out to Congressman Kilili's office, because he's always, like you say, you got your six. He's always there supporting us.
That's great.
Giving us references to different outreach activities that we can present to federal agencies. We do have a great relationship with NOAA, the Department of Commerce. A lot of our funding comes from them, as well as the American National Park Foundation.
No kidding.
Which is really cool. And there are others, but a lot of the funding doesn't. We can't use it to pay our rent, pay our utility bill, and that kind of thing. And so that's what the gala is for: is to raise administrative funds for those type of things that are not included or eligible expenses under most federal grants.
Wow, that's so wild, because I wonder how they expect all that stuff to get done.
Well, they give you a 10% admin fee. If you negotiate a higher fee, most likely you'll be able to get up to 15 or 20%, but it's not enough to cover admin expenses. So that's why we do the fundraising.
I'm going to open up this envelope, which is very nice. Just so I could show off what the tickets look like for everybody. Hold on. There we go.
Yes.
All right, so these are the tickets. Now, they're still available?
They are online. That's a sample of what it's going to look like.
There we go.
Yes. We've gone green this year, and we're selling tickets online. There are still tickets available. They're $100 per individual, and $1,000 per table, which is a reserved table seating for 8 people.
Nice.
Yes, and there's the events website that I gave you on my card.
Yes, I see it. I'll pull it up there.
Chat, that'd be cool.
I will. I'm going to do it right now.
And also, big shout out to Amir Yunus and his team for putting this together for us. It's been a real help, in terms of going green, ticket sales, advertising, and so forth.
Amir's awesome. I was just talking about him the other day. Someone was asking me about, who's running? Maybe I typed it in. Oh, Mina Green Gala 2024. I didn't even finish the whole way. Okay, because there's more to it. Green Gala 2024. And we're pulling it up. In fact, I can show you guys.
Ta-da!
This is great.
8 days to go. 8 days, 9 hours.
This is awesome.
28 minutes.
Yeah, well, I'm going to move this down
the time
to
is
this
now.
one.
Purchase now.
So if you guys are looking at getting tickets, you'll find the link in the comments, and it's really pretty cool. Hold on, let me pull up the old share screen so you can see what we're looking at.
Yes. And if you go to that website also, to the link, you'll see who the sponsors are. We've already got sponsor logos up and running, and gives you a little bit more information about the event itself. The cool thing about this too is that Crown has approved of a special rate for staycation for ticket holders.
Responsible partiers, essentially, right? So you don't have to worry about driving home?
Right. So the special rate of $150 a night.
Wow.
Includes breakfast for 2.
Wow.
Plus the tax. But yeah, and they're offering to extend that for 2 nights, Friday and Saturday. So it'd be a nice little staycation. If you have children that you would want to bring over, they can stay in the room while you're down partying. If they have a babysitter. So, you have to 18 or over to attend the gala.
Okay, that's great.
21 and over to be able to consume alcohol. But
No children at the Green Gala.
yeah, 18 and above.
That's great. That is great. We're just scrolling through, showing off your sponsors and everything right now to everybody.
Cool.
The link is in the comment section, folks, where you can purchase your tickets. All you got to do is click on it. Ooh, see, look, this is how it works. And that's it. You get your whole thing, the table, the individual, and that's pretty cool. Oh, look at this. It says 125. Is this based on the number of people on your table? No.
Yeah, so it's 8 people is $1,000.
Oh, times, there you go,
Yeah,
times
yeah.
125. I'm like, because it drops, it changes quite a bit. There you go.
Yep.
But this is such a cool website setup, and it goes right to you guys. And that's really the main thing, is that they want to make sure that the money goes to the Mariana Islands Nature Alliance for doing all the great stuff. What are some of the other cool things that you guys have coming up after? I know this is the big thing that's staring right at you. But
This is our big event of the year. We are also continuing on with our programs. We did get some grants going back to the Community Recycles Plastics program. We have assistance from the National Parks Foundation to be able to utilize American Memorial Park for our events for plastics recycling, and there'll be a collection point, and that's going to roll out later on in October. We're also finishing in December. We'll be finished with our big typhoon debris removal. You wouldn't believe Typhoon U2 2018, the amount of debris that still needs to get handled.
is it still over there by the dump and everything, by the landfill? Or is it still at other places?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's still a lot in the coastal areas. We're doing we just finished a big cleanup, helping over the summer. We helped some of the schools that had it stored at the back of their facilities.
Really?
We didn't have resources to be able to remove it. And so when we do these kind of things, we organize it. We put out RFPs for contractors who have, the heavy lifting equipment and so forth and so on. But that finishes up in December.
Like, what kind of debris do they still have that they're storing?
Like desks and, I don't know, just debris from typhoon. Typhoon blows through your school, you got like stuff, right? White goods, all those kind of things. A lot of it is going, a lot of the steel. We finished the Tinian Harbor last year, and we pulled out about 80,000 pounds from the Tinian Harbor.
Wow.
That was thrown into the Tinian Harbor as a result of Typhoon U2. The majority of that was able to be recycled, tin, steel beams, and things like that. So those kind of items go to the recycling center.
Wow, so. And now that's one of the functions that you're doing for MENA. I can't believe that's not something like the Port Authority would have something.
I mean, we got the funding for it, and we're managing the program.
So okay.
That's kind of how it works. And the funding came from the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation.
All right, just a couple of little comments that came through, too. Here we go. Ann said that this is a great movement. It should be an island-wide effort from the community and private sector to government to invest in that warehouse. Also, she says, question, does MENA have a plan to have other fundraising events with reasonable ticket prices like a festival or a carnival? That would be funner, she says.
At this time, no.
No.
But it's a good idea, and maybe something we can look into for 2025. Like I said, it is our 20th anniversary next year.
Ooh.
So that might be an opportunity for us to get involved. We do, throughout the years, we have had outreach booths at like the July 4th festivities, Flame Tree Arts Festival, and Ocean Month when DEQ has specific events. But to have a special fun carnival might be kind of fun, ring toss. We could put some of our board members on the, what do you call it, the splash board?
Yes, the dunk booth. So that is a perfect lead into my next question. You talk about your board. Do you have like a volunteer organization that's part of your group as well?
The board is all volunteers.
Okay.
We don't have a membership. I believe they did in the past before I came on board. So I joined the organization in 2017, so it was quite a few years after they had established. But they, at a certain point, they decided not to have a membership with the dues. But we do have a board of directors comprised of 7 people. They come from the financial, IT, legal backgrounds. So they're all environmental background. So they are volunteers. So,
well, great. So there's an opportunity for Ann to go in there and help volunteer if she wanted to help with that kind of a planning thing.
Yes,
that would be
cool.
That would be cool.
She can reach out and call us, or she can also email minaaoutreach@gmail.com.
minaaoutreach@gmail.com. So that's one thing. So here's minaaoutreach@gmail.com. There's one. Also, is this still your website, the minapacific.org?
Yes.
All right, cool. So I'm going to put this on there as well. All this stuff is going in the comments on the NMI news service side, guys.
On the reverse side of my card, we also have our Instagram and Facebook connections.
Look at that. You're all fancy in the socials. Hold on. I'm pulling them up here. I got your Facebooks right here. Oh, please. Am I following you guys? Oh, my God, I'm not. Not me personally. The news wasn't, but we are now.
Okay, cool.
That was an easy fix. I'm going to put that one in there. Ann says, let's go, Brad. Let's make Zori's.
So I'm a boomer, so I don't know a whole lot about that stuff, but my staff is the one. They're on it, so they're in charge.
All right, I got your events page. That's already there. There's your email, your phone number. It's all on the website too.
Yes.
Hey, there's MJ. That must be last year, or no? That's Ladies' Night Out.
Yes.
Was that a separate thing?
There are pictures from previous years, just to kind of get it out there that everybody really does have a good time. It is a cash bar, but the ticket holders do get 1 free drink on entry.
Well, that's great. I know this is all a big deal. It's all going to raise money for a great cause. And I'm looking at some of the posts that you guys have had from the previous year. In fact, I already put the link to your Facebook page up.
Thank you.
But just to show it off a little bit, this is it. And you can see some of the pictures. Like there's MJ, he's one of our favorites from the Shack. Hey, they watch the show every day. But nice. See, look, now we got even fancier because she's on our show, even though she's across the street right now. And then like all these photos and calendar updates to let people know that the big event is right around the corner. It's just next week.
Yes, a week from tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It's so fast. There's so much happening next week too.
I know. And then everything. When trying to schedule these type of events, we start looking at calendars early in the year, but trying not to, bump into other really important nonprofits like Make-A-Wish and Red Cross and other organizations that also have big fundraisers. So
I'm gonna get your Instagram up here in a second too. I don't know why that says that. That came up the other day too. It says that I think that our Instagram account might be automated. I'm like, oh, we are not. We hardly post. We are the worst frequent posters for Instagram. I need to figure that out. Anyway, Mina. So is it under Mina? It's your Instagram
Mina,
is Outreach.
Mina Outreach. Yeah.
All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, there it is. It pops up right away.
Okay.
And we'll just show you guys. We'll get the link up there for you too, so you can find it. We'll transition it over there. First of all, pal, so you guys can see it. This is their Instagram. We're about to put that link in there too. So if you guys can follow them, then you'll be able to know whenever they do cool stuff. Follow them on Facebook. Follow them on the IG. We're going to follow you right now. Pew! For the Instagrams. And there we go. And you get all the stuff, and you can purchase your tickets by even scanning this one here, which is pretty neat. So there you go. Anything you want to tell anybody before we wrap up?
It takes, and it's not my quote. It's a quote from a famous politician from years ago. It takes a village.
Yeah.
and seriously, it does. I mean, it takes a whole community to make a difference. And, Mina takes pride in the fact that we do have these programs. We roll them out. As an example, when we do tree planting under our Bring Back Our Trees program, We get school kids, we get community groups. The Lions Club comes out every year. Hand Me comes out. Knowing that there is a difference, and that's really important, and really, really would love to thank the community for all their involvement.
Well, that's great. Well, we're looking forward to being there. And as you mentioned, I'm going to be the host that night. I can't wait because it's been a while. Last year you had it.
Yes.
But then we took a little bit of a pandemic break before all that, right?
Yes.
So this will be a grand night. It is the Green Gala. It is Friday, September 20th. It's going to be from 6 to 10 over at Crown Plaza. And there's a special room rate, too. If you decide that you want to stay there, it's $150, and you get to spend the night at the Crown Plaza Resort. Get everything that comes with it, including breakfast for two the next day. So have a great time. You can raise a whole lot of money. Have a great time with your friends.
And thanks to Scott at Godfathers, he's giving out a special for happy hour prices starting at 9:30 on draft beer.
So the after party.
After party at Godfathers. So there you go. So big shout out to Scott for doing that.
From Green Gala to the God's Gala.
There you go.
It's going to be the Godfather's Gala. Garapan is going to be a good night. It's going to be 3 G's right there.
There you go.
4 Green Gala, Godfathers, and Garapan is going to be Friday, September 20th. It looks like it's going to be great. What's the theme this time around?
The theme is green.
Green theme, that works. There's always fancy stuff. It's like one of the nicest events that happens.
Yes, and we do have, 3 awards that we give out that are typically kept as a secret until the night of the event.
Ooh.
And so they are awarded for the work that they do in terms of environmental conservation. We have a youth group, as always. We have individuals, and we have a Green Business of the Year. So those are that's the highlight of the gala is recognizing and honoring people and individuals, who actually do make a huge difference.
That's outstanding. People are telling us that they're following you guys now on all these different channels. And Tobot says, "Hey, nobody go out and get arrested that night."
Stay in Garapan.
Yeah, that'll be the Blue Gala. That'll be you don't want that one. All right. Roberto Guerrero, Executive Director from MENA, thanks so much for being here with us. And thanks for just being a great environmental steward for years now, and then for hosting cool events like this.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks so much to everybody for tuning in. We're not done yet. Don't worry. But we are going to wrap up. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We come back. We have more of our local headlines, and we won't have the AP update until at least the news update until 9 o'clock. But maybe we'll come back with sports in just a little bit. Let's just do that. That's what I'm going to do. I just change it. I called an audible. It's not football season, but we're doing an audible. So just going to give you guys the sports update first, and then we're going to roll into the rest of our headlines. So stick around. We're not going anywhere, and we'll give you a quick look at traffic while we're doing all of that. Thanks for tuning in.
Personal conduct policy. A woman in Texas accused Watson of sexual assault in 2020 while he played for Houston. The coach's challenge reviews are expanding in the NBA on some out-of-bounds plays. That if a foul should have been called on a play, it can now be assessed shortly after the play has occurred. On the baseball scoreboard, we start in the interleague play where the Philadelphia Phillies start strong and finish stronger. AP correspondent Dave Ferry reports.
Kyle Schwarber set a season record for leadoff homers, and the Phillies put together a 5-run eighth to beat the Rays 9-4. Schwarber slammed his 14th leadoff homer before leaving the game in the 4th inning due to left elbow discomfort. Trey Turner smacked a 2-run homer in the 3rd and capped the 8th inning rally with a 2-run blast. Cal Stevenson's 2-run double in the 8th broke a 4-4 tie. Phillies manager Rob Thompson says he liked the way they attacked in the 8th inning.
It was good at bats. Marsh had a great at bat to walk. Clemens goes the opposite way for a double, and Stevenson has a big pinch hit double. And then, I think at that moment, everybody sort of relaxes.
Bryce Harper had 4 hits, one more than Turner.
Arizona topped Texas 6-0. Toronto defeated the New York Mets 6-2. For the Mets, they lose for just the second time in 12 games, fall into a tie with Atlanta for the final wild card spot in the National League. Mets starting and losing pitcher David Peterson says he put his team in an early hole, allowing 5 runs over 4 1/3 innings.
I need to stop their momentum. I wasn't able to slow the game down soon enough, and like I said, it snowballed, and I need to be able to stop those innings like I have been sooner.
San Diego beat Seattle 7-3. Detroit blanked Colorado 11-0. American League, Kansas City shuts down the New York Yankees 5-0. Seth Lugo struck out 10 in 7 innings. He says you can never relax when you face the Yanks.
Honestly, with that lineup, you never know. It can change. I think, it's a 2-3 run game, a lot of the game, and, a couple bad pitches, and, it's over. So that lineup's relentless, so you don't ever really get comfortable.
While Baltimore stays a half a game behind the Yankees, they got back on the winning track, as Gethin Coolball reports.
A big night at the plate for Cedric Mullins helped the Orioles snap a 3-game skid with a 5-3 win over the Red Sox. Mullins put the O's on top 4 pitches into the game with a solo homer and went deep again for a 2-run blast in the 3rd. Baltimore manager Brandon Hyde
gets us on the board there early, and another big homer. I was happy with our offense. We didn't push quite enough across, but I thought we were doing a better job of keeping the line moving.
Adley Rutschman tacked on a 2-run single in the 7th. Baltimore starter Albert Suarez struck out 8 over 6 innings of 1-run ball. Red Sox starter Cutter Crawford allowed 3 runs over 6 1/3. The Orioles pulled within a half game of the AL East leading Yankees.
Minnesota topped the LA Angels 10-5. The Cleveland Guardians have a 3.5 game lead over Kansas City in the American League Central. They emptied out their bullpen to shut down the Chicago White Sox, as correspondent David Schuster reports.
7 pitchers combined on a 5-hitter as the Guardians shut out the White Sox 5-0. Ben Lively started but left early on after getting hit by a batted ball. Lane Thomas had a pair of hits, including a 3-run homer, and more is fitting into his new surroundings.
Well, it's awesome. I said from day one, you see why they've been successful all year. They have a really tight clubhouse, and I've just tried to do my best to be a part of it and kind of fit in, so it's been nice to get a few hits the last 10 days or so.
Cleveland remains 3.5 games up on Kansas City in the AL Central. As for the White Sox, they have lost 14 straight at home, 26 of their last 27, and it was loss number 113 this season.
The Oakland A's hang on to beat Houston, as correspondent Adam Spillane reports.
The AL West leading Astros had 2 chances to get the tying run home from third base in the 12th inning, but failed in a 4-3 loss to the A's. With Jose Altuve at third base, Kyle Tucker took a called third strike, and then Alex Bregman hit a soft comebacker back to the pitcher for the Astros, whose lead in the division remains at 4.5 games. Astros manager Joe Espada.
We kind of expanded, trying to do a little bit too much. But I thought, we battled to the end. We got the right guys at the plate when we wanted to, and we just couldn't, which is one of those games.
Jose Altuve finished 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs for the Astros, but they finished just 2 for 17 with runners in scoring position. Zach Geloff hit a home run for the A's.
National League, the Chicago Cubs over the LA Dodgers 6-3. Atlanta used a couple of Michael Harris home runs in a 12-0 win over Washington. Milwaukee defeated San Francisco 3-2. Cincinnati topped St. Louis 3-0. Pittsburgh 6-4 over Miami. Auburn quarterback Peyton Thorne has taken some heat from angry bettors after struggling in a loss to California last Saturday, where he threw 4 interceptions in the Auburn loss. Thorne said on the Next Round podcast that he's heard from angry bettors in person and on social media. WNBA, Minnesota topped Atlanta 76-64, New York 105, Dallas 91, and Connecticut defeated Los Angeles 86-66. Chuck Freeman, AP Sports.
All right, we're back. Good morning. That's your sports update from the Associated Press. We're going to get back into some of our local headlines here. And I know it's a little funny. I love the music for Law & Order is the best. But I want to get I know the stories out there, but I want to see if I can't pull up the actual stuff from Pacer about the Pacer. Regarding the court records for the NMI regarding the district court here. Search for a case by court opinions, national index. And this is a federal one. Oh, I got to do the login. 1 second. Yeah, so it's the public access to court electronic records. Login. Kapow. And that's it. Where would you like to go? I would like to go to... is it going to be Pacer Case Locator? I guess. Yeah. Let's go. Submit. Here we go. We're going to find the case. And this is a case. I'm just going to put in the name because I don't know the case number. I need to find the case number. Court number is not going to be, it's going to be criminal. Kapow. Don't know. It says at least one is required. Here's the name. Okay. Just got to charge 10 cents. I know this is interesting for you guys, but we're going to find it. It says the site is maintained. Where is it? Come on, let's go. Party search, advanced case search. There we go. Okay, there. Oh, boom. That's the last name, first name. There we go. Got it. This should help. Search. Holy cow. This goes back. Oh, God, that's why. Let's do the, can I do it by date file, date closed? I want to get the most recent thing. This is about the MHS teacher. And I got some of the news about it, and I can go into more detail about it, but it looks like by the time that I've got here, we're going to have to do this tomorrow, and I'm okay with that. So I guess that's what we're going to do. I'll pull up everything for you tomorrow. It's about the local former MHS band instructor who pled to child pornography possession, and I'll walk you through the whole process on this one, where it was wild for me to be a part of this because I ended up helping find this guy with a bunch of other folks from here, and then we were contacted by the folks who he was convicted of basically photographing their kid. And he's like, do you know this guy? Do you know anything about him? I'm like, holy crap, let me tell you, this is not the right guy. Or this is not a good guy. And he had them snowed. He had us snowed. Like, people didn't know that he was that special kind of creep. Turns out he is. And then he just pled for it. And now I can't see if there's a way to search more. You know, it's so hard to find it because his name is David Fromm. Apparently there's an attorney named David Fromm who's been in practice for a very long time because there's so many results for him. No. All right, let me see if I can't find a better way. Here we go. By direction is ascending, by party name. No, that's not how I want to do it. Cancel. Guys, I'll tell you what. This is what we're going to have to do. We're going to get back into this tomorrow because that's a bigger thing. We're going to talk about this for a while. That court case is going to wrap up today as well. What are the other ones that I was going to dig into today? I think that's the big ones. We had the big talk about the ongoing case in Superior Court right now, and they're supposed to wrap up today. They thought they'd be wrapping up tomorrow, but they didn't. They thought they were going to wrap up yesterday, but they didn't get to it. But they got to it today. Man, I can't believe it. I can't believe that I can't get that stuff as fast as I wanted to here. But I'll make sure I have it for you tomorrow. We'll dig into it because this is somebody that a lot of people know here in Saipan, and he wasn't doing anything. People thought he was doing all right out here, and it turns out he wasn't. All right, here's something I will tell you about, though, because we got this while we were doing this morning. It's a CUC alert if you will, for the island of Rhoda, and this is regarding the water. Let's show this to you. If you're in Rhoda or you know folks in Rhoda, let them know about it. They've got a precautionary boil water notice. Why? Well, apparently it's because of all that heavy rainfall. And all kinds of stuff can get into the rain. All kinds of extra bacteria can get into the rain. And so what they're saying is that don't drink the water coming out of the tap in Rhoda unless you boil it first. Because, again, with all that new water that's being introduced into the water table as quickly as it is because of all the heavy rain, it hasn't gone through all the naturally filtered goodness that is normally your water from Rhoda. So bring all your water at least to a rolling boil for at least 3 minutes, then let it cool before you use it, or just use bottled water. Bottled water is fine already. So by using boil or bottled water should be used for drinking, for making ice, brushing teeth, washing dishes, your food prep. This is until they tell you, because that boiling kills the bacteria and all other organisms that are going to be in the water. All your stored water, your drinks or ice, like if you've got water from like recently and it's like in the refrigerator, you're supposed to pour it out. If you got ice cubes, you're supposed to get rid of those too. That's what they're saying from CUC. Because enough of it's not good. Now, it has, so turbidity itself has no health effects, but it can interfere with the disinfection and provide a medium for microbial growth. So that means like little microbes could grow from it. It could be a easy way for them to do that. This turbidity may actually indicate the presence of disease-causing organisms that can include bacteria, viruses, parasites that can cause symptoms like nausea, cramps, diarrhea, and associated headaches. People with severely compromised immune systems, infants, and some elderly may be at an increased risk and should seek advice from your healthcare providers about drinking the water. And the symptoms above are not caused only by organisms in drinking water, but if you experience them, then you might want to seek advice from a medical professional. If you've got some general questions on ways to lessen the risk of infection by microbes, you can call the EPA Safe Drinking Water Hotline at 1-800-426-4791. Now, don't worry. Your CUC is not just sitting idly by. They have already started flushing their distribution systems, and they're currently monitoring all the turbidity and residual chlorine levels throughout all of CUC, throughout their entire system out there in Rhoda. So they're going to continue to be your main water supply and everything, but they've got to do this first. So it's just a heads up from CUC. If you're living in Rhoda, until they tell you different, don't brush your teeth with tap water. Don't use tap water for ice cubes. Don't use it for washing your dishes or food prep. Like, don't wash your rice with it. And don't drink it. You got to boil it first. That's what they're saying. So if you're in Rhoda or if you've got friends and family in Rhoda, pass that along. We're going to put this on the news service page after we're done with the old show. So, now you know. All right, folks. Well, that's what we've got for today. Thanks for tuning in, because otherwise we're just going to be here for a lot longer, talk about a lot more things. I could easily do that, but we're not going to do that today because I want to get to some other stuff, some other projects and all that. But I want to say thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the comments. Thanks for all the messages. And thanks for just being a part of our community out here, part of the NMI News Service community and being a part of our CNMI community. I know a lot of folks have moved off island, but we're still holding strong out here. We're going to hold the fort till you guys move back. It's going to be a wet one. It's a 100% chance of rain from the National Weather Service, so expect it. That means not going to be seeing baseball tonight, probably, most likely. Don't expect baseball. That's all I'm saying. All right, you guys, have a great day. Have a great night, and we will see you guys again tomorrow morning. Oh, we will go live today at 1 o'clock. There is going to be a press conference with the Department of Public Safety regarding a recent drug seizure that they had. This is the thing we mentioned a couple days ago. We thought it might happen yesterday as well, but they are going to do it today at 1 o'clock. So we'll be here for it. So get ready. You see a little notification pop up. That's what it's all about. So have a great day, and we'll see you this afternoon. And if you haven't made lunch plans, go make them over there at the Shack. Shack's certainly awesome. We love them. They love us. Oh, and today is also a special lunch day over at Godfather's. It's not Taco Tuesday, and it's not unlimited pizza, but they've got a ton of great things that you should be able to eat. The great sandwiches. They got salads, healthy alternatives, and they're all like $12.95. You don't want to miss out. It's great. It's Godfather's. It's Thursday. It's in the Marianas. Where else would you rather be than right here, right now? We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you at 1 o'clock today. We'll see you for football tomorrow, too.
Hello, city. Hello, city.